white ball. If the various races in Malaya have their differences, they're often settled amicably at the weekend. There's never been a colour bar in Malaya, and there isn't one today. Once the exclusive refuge of Europeans, the Mok Tudor Selangor Club is now open to all who can afford it. The University of Malaya has fine modern buildings and little racial divisions. The government's best answer to the problem of multiracialism is education. The aim is free primary education for all, and secondary education mainly in Malay and English. Education is designed to give a Malayan outlook. By living together and working together, young people of all races are learning the tolerance without which Malaya cannot exist, and the know-how to run the country. Teaching staff comes from every race in Malaya and from many different parts of the world. Nigel Ryan went to talk to Uncle Abdul Aziz, Professor of Economics and a world expert on the economics of Southeast Asia. He asked Professor Aziz what he felt about the plan for a greater Malaysia.
Well, as a long-term plan from the Malayan point of view, I should say ultimately it will be to our benefit. But within that long term, we may have a number of setbacks, because if we bring in the Borneo territories, including Brunei and of course Singapore, then we might find ourselves short of personnel, for one thing, and we may find that all our plans that have been built up in the past few years since independence all have to be rearranged. And this rearranging of plans and developing new ideas may set us back quite a bit in the long term.
The Chinese population of Malaya is almost equal the Malay population. Do you think this is a possible cause of future racial trouble?
I don't think the problem is so much a racial problem. I think I'm a bit unorthodox in my approach. I think that there is definitely an economic problem that sometimes appears to have racial undertones, or even a racial problem. But really what it is that the majority of the rural people are Malays, and the majority of the people who are trading in rural produce, who are buying the fish and the rubber and so on for the export market, the people who are selling them bicycles and so on, are non-Malays. The people who are money lenders are non-Malays, and many of the landlords are non-Malays. And so the rural population, which is largely Malay, as I said, feels exploited by these people, and this gives it a racial bias to those who wish to see it as a racial problem. But actually, there are large numbers of Chinese farmers and Chinese fishermen and Indian farmers and even Indian fishermen who are suffering just as much in poverty as the Malay farmers and fishermen.
And how about religious differences? Do you think they're a possible cause of trouble?
I think religion could be a vehicle for conflict. I think people could use religion to whip up extremist feeling and then use this gradually to build up mass feeling for some sort of very serious conflict, certainly. The thing is that in this country, all the Malays virtually are Muslims, and the non-Malays, relatively a few are Christians, and the rest are either Indian, Hindus, or Chinese who follow animistic or family systems of religion. Now, in this situation, assimilation, that is coming together of people through religion, as you have, for instance, the Chinese and the Thais, or Chinese with Indonesians in parts of Indonesian society where people are not Muslim, this is not possible. So we have to practice religious tolerance, religious understanding, as we have done in Malaya.
Do you think that there will in fact be quite a lot of intermarriage in the future between people who are now Malays and Chinese?
Yeah, there is already considerable intermarriage, and I think it will increase as people come together, and people of the sort of same background come together. In the rural areas there's very considerable intermarriage, and the Malays have adopted very large numbers of Chinese babies for many years.
But basically the object of the of Malaya as a nation is to create Malayans rather than Chinese or Malays.
That's right, yes, yes.
The Malayan Prime Minister comes to London this month to ask for immediate independence for the British territories in Borneo and a new federation of Greater Malaysia. As proof of the ability of Malayans to run their own affairs, he can point to the Federation's prosperity, its stability, and its plans for the future. The Tunku's forthcoming mission to London may prove to be the turning point in the destiny of Malaysia.